Okay, welcome everyone. I guess I'm sort of welcoming myself. Thank you for, having me. It's beautiful to be here and share a few words. Hopefully we can walk into Rosh Hashanah on a dot of a higher note. So this year Rosh Hashanah is a little bit different. It's a Shabbos. The women for sure know that. Different menus, different things going on. Rosh Hashanah is Shabbos. So what does that mean? Is when you think about Rosh Hashanah, the first thing that comes to mind is what is Rosh Hashanah? It's Shofar. And definitely in a woman's mind, top 3 is, okay, how am I going to get to shul to hear Shofar? Which, parenthetically, it's interesting that's become such a focus when in reality women don't even have to really hear Shofar. It's a beautiful thing that women have taken on over the many years to do such, but in reality, if you think about it, it's a time-bound mitzvah. So a woman really is patur from shofar, but it's a beautiful thing anyways. But this year there's no shofar. So that whole first day, it's like, okay, we're off. I don't have to do anything. And the question is, in lieu of shofar, maybe what could we perhaps tap in a little bit? Because I think when you go to shul and you make that effort and you come and you hear the shofar, you walk home feeling, okay, I did something this Rosh Hashanah. I connected a little bit. I at least got the shofar. I did something. But now, if you're not going to hear that, you might feel that I'm lacking. I'm lacking. What exactly am I going to do this Rosh Hashanah? So to share 3 short ideas. Firstly, is why don't we listen to shofar? I'm sure this is something brings you back to your school days many moons ago, or not that many moons ago. But it's one of those things you're taught very little. Is that why don't we blow shofar on Shabbos? It's because of a concern that someone might carry the shofar through the streets. So it's fascinating. Rosh Hashanah is shofar. Because there might be one Jew that forgets and carries the shofar outside, the whole Klal Yisrael doesn't blow shofar. Which just brings to mind, and Aruch HaShulchan speaks this out, the importance of Shabbos. And many explain that in a year that there is no shofar, what one could do to connect to that portion of Rosh Hashanah is to put a bit of a focus on Shabbos. Now, what does it mean to put a focus on Shabbos? So what it means is perhaps to make a little bit of a focus that this year I'm going to be a drop better in my Shmira Shabbos. Maybe there are certain things which we're doing for years and am I really supposed to be doing that? I don't know. Maybe now is the time to say, hey, is that the right way of doing it? And often, from my experience, is that usually when someone isn't sure if they could do something, that usually means they might be doing something wrong, but more importantly than that, is that there's a right way to do it. So if you were to be told, you do this, it's wrong, you do this, it's right, it's like, why not? And it's usually not that much more difficult. We could go into examples, but we're going to try to keep it very short. So that's one, is maybe to focus a drop more on Shabbos. That's in the halachic realm. But even not in the halachic realm, in the practical realm, what is Shabbos? What is Shabbos? Shabbos is the most beautiful day, and honestly, what sets the tone for a Shabbos, aside for the food and aside for the decor, is the mood in the house which is set by the woman. What is Shabbos? And if Shabbos in one's home is a beautiful day that the kids can't get enough of, and even if it's for the wrong reasons, they're children, so it's the candy, who cares? So it's the ISIS, what's the problem? But Shabbos becomes an exciting day, then you're tapping into Shabbos, and Shabbos is the makar of all bracha. And who doesn't want bracha? So in a year that there's no shofar, a drop more of an emphasis on Shabbos. That's idea number 1. Idea number 2 is, I think, often we walk into Rosh Hashanah and we're told and we hear, what do you have to do? You have to take on a small commitment. And we think one of 2 things. We think, number 1, does it really do anything? Come on. We all know I'm going to take on a small commitment. By next week, I'm not doing it anymore. That's question number 1 that we say. Question number 2 that we say is, and even if it's something, it's very, very small, I'm going to do it. Does it make a difference? So a Baal Tshuva recently shared with me that there's a book, a James Cleary book, called Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits. What is the book? The book is, maybe he read some of our beautiful Sfarim and he wrote a book based on it. What is atomic? What's an atom? An atom is the smallest thing. He wrote an entire secular best-selling book that if you want to change your life and be a more productive, a better, an incredible person, what should you do? Change things on the atomic level. On the teeniest, smallest level, and he goes through the whole book. I did not read the book. This Baal Tshuva was explaining to me how it's absolutely fascinating that when you change these teeny little things, slowly over time, it does indeed change you as a person. So, not that we need a proof from a secular book, but often it validates it a little bit. And it's like, hey, maybe it does work. But on the flip side, and with this we'll sort of conclude, is that what does it mean to do something small? I'd like to share with you the words of a medrash. What I'm about to say, if I didn't tell you it was a medrash, you would accuse it of being some new-aged, be happy, you're the best type of paraphernalia that one would say, what are you talking about? That's not real. You're making that up. That's not from the Torah. So I'm quoting you from a medrash itself. That this is the last medrash in all of Chamisha Chumshei Torah, all of Torah. It's the last medrash in the Zayis HaBracha. It's a Tanchuma. And the medrash describes the difference between a Rasha and a Tzaddik. Perhaps this is where every Yid is a big Tzaddik came from, as you'll see in a moment. And we all know Rosh Hashanah, there are those books open, right? Am I a tzaddik? Am I a rasha? Where am I going to go? And it sounds very scary. And it sounds very like, no, don't talk about that. That's too heavy. We want to be like nice and we're enjoying yourself. So give me a moment and let me tell you what the Medrash says. The Medrash says, you know what a rasha is? A rasha is, he sees the sun rise, and I'm quoting the Medrash in English. He sees the sun rise and he doesn't make the bracha of Yetzer HaMa'iris that we make in the morning in davening. He sees the sun set. He doesn't make the bracha, Hamariv Haravin. He takes a drink, he doesn't make a bracha. He eats, he doesn't make a bracha. A tzaddik is one that makes a bracha and sees Hashem when he eats, when he drinks, when he sees the sun rise and set. End of the Medrash. The Medrash just taught us that what does it mean to be a tzaddik? What does it mean to be a rasha? It does not mean that you have to change your whole life. It does not mean you have to become the world's biggest rebbetzin. What it means to be a tzaddik, in the words of the Medrash, is to bring that one dot of godliness into your life. And with that, we could understand that what does it mean to walk into Rosh Hashanah and do something a little bit more. We probably have heard during our Seres Tshuva, do something. We're like, that's so silly. I'm going to do it for the Seres Tshuva and then I'm going to stop. And Hashem knows I'm going to stop, so what am I doing? I'm doing something for 1 week? So Rav Yerucham Levavitz, the famed Demir Rosh Hashiva, this is how he explains it. That yes, you're going to do it for 1 week. And that's the power of 1 week of a bracha. That's the power of saying, as you walk into Rosh Hashanah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try a little bit harder. When I take a drink, I'm going to make a bracha. The Medrash just said, you just wrote your name in the Sifrei Chaim. You just became a tzaddik by doing what? By making a bracha. And if you think about it, and with this we'll conclude, in the deep, think about it a little bit deeply, because what you're doing is you're bringing Hashem into your life. You're not just living life as it comes. I eat, I drink, I go, I this. No, I'm a Jew. I wake up, I say Moidani. I have a coffee, I make a shahakol. What's the big deal? I just made a shahakol. Yes. The teeniest little thing, like a shahakol, like saying Moidani, is the difference, says the Medrash itself, between a tzaddik and a rasha. So we'll conclude with a bracha that Emir Hashem, a year that doesn't have shofar could be a very scary year, says some of the sources, because without shofar, it's a very scary year. But hopefully, through the little bit extra focus on Shabbos will be the Makara bracha. And notoriously, years without shofar, years of the Rosh Hashanah and Shabbos have either been the best of years, or unfortunately the opposite. But hopefully, if we walk in with the right mindset, and we realize, we'll give a little extra focus on Shabbos. And you know what? I'll put that dot of focus to make that bracha. I'm not talking necessarily even about the whole year. That was Atomic Habits. James Cleary told you to do it the whole year. I'm talking about just for Rosh Hashanah. You walk in and you say, I'm going to make a bracha. I'm going to put a drop more focus. Mir Tashem, the year should be completely different. And now I'm done. I just want to add on one thing that someone sent me today. And it's something beautiful, and maybe I should have just said this and call it a day. You could all decide. Someone said, what should a woman do in Rosh Hashanah? Maybe you saw this, maybe you didn't. If you did, that's why I finished. So I'm just repeating from someone else. It's from Rabbi Sukkar in Eretz Yisrael. What should a woman do on Rosh Hashanah? He said, you don't have time to daven, you don't have time to listen. You know what you should do? Sit with your children and discuss Malchus Shamayim. Sounds crazy. What does that mean? He says, no, discuss Mashiach. What does that mean? So, what is going to happen when Mashiach comes? Talk about it. Kids have fascinating imaginations. There'll be no more. What are all the people in the world going to do? They're going to be our servants. They're going to serve us. On the trees, what's going to grow on the trees? The fresh challah that you're about to make is going to go straight off the tree. The grass is going to grow cotton candy. The Perfect World, Yaakov Shweki, the whole music video. That's actually what's going to happen. Some people say, no, it's just a video. It's straight out of a Gemara in Shabbos. That's what's going to be Mashiach. If you talk about it with the kids, you discuss what's Mashiach going to be. That's really Rosh Hashanah. Because Rosh Hashanah is Malchus Shamayim. Looking to Hashem and bringing His kingdom into our life, talking what's going to be in the future. Discuss it with the children. Bring it out. Kids have fascinating imaginations, and that could be the greatest way to connect to Rosh Hashanah. So whether it works for you to take one small step, whether it works for you, listen, I'm a cotton candy person, you can ask my wife, whether it works to you to talk about the cotton candy growing from the trees, the fresh challah growing from the ground, the Mirza Hashem, this Rosh Hashanah should be an absolutely incredible yontif, and should be the beginning of an absolutely amazing, amazing year. Bracha is only for everyone.